In 2010, my brokerage was on the floor. And by 2024, it was doing $3 billion in annual sales across a dozen markets with over 500 agents. And in this three-part series, I'm going to walk you through the exact 5 systems that made that happen, the order in which to install each one of them. This is part 1 of 3. Let's get into it. But let me back up, because the on the floor part wasn't metaphorical. I was literally sitting on the floor of an office that I couldn't afford in a market that had completely collapsed, running a brokerage that was bleeding agents, listings, and money all at the same time. And here's the part that nobody tells you. That was the best thing that ever happened to me, because what I built from the rubble of 2008, the systems, the frames, the frameworks, the non-negotiables, it eventually scaled into a $3 billion operation. But this video isn't a victory lap or a highlight reel. It's more of a war plan, because the last 3 years has done to this industry what 2008 did to me. And if you think about it, your units are down 40%. You've got over 400,000 agents that are gone out of the business, and portals, all of them, Zillow, Realtor, House Canary. Real estate professionals, you and I both know 87% of the licensees don't make it in this business. Don't worry, I don't have anything to sell you here, but what I do want to do is I want to impact your life. I want to change your life. In order for you to be the top of the top, you're going to need to do some things different, and one of those things is to become part of the Sales Warrior community. Subscribe below, it's free. They're in an all-out attack on the authority that used to be ours, that used to belong to you. And if you're a broker owner right now, or a team leader thinking about making that jump, you're not in a soft market. You're in a war for relevance. This is not a highlight reel. This is the actual blueprint, including the parts that almost didn't work, the parts that I rebuilt 3 times until I got it right, the parts that cost me agents, money, and really, really expensive lessons about culture and what actually makes it. If you've ever wondered why some brokerages grow and most of them just churn, I want you to stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which systems to build first, which ones brokers build wrong, and, well, which one is the difference between a brokerage that survives and a brokerage that takes their unfair share of the market. So let's get into it. I want to start with the truth that most broker owners just, frankly, you don't want to hear. The question every broker owner asks me is, how do I actually scale a real estate brokerage? And the answer almost nobody wants to hear is, most of you can't. It's not because you're not capable, but because you don't have the systems to be able to scale. And if your brokerage stopped recruiting, as an example, tomorrow, and just lived off the agents that you have right now, you'd be out of business in 18 months, maybe sooner. And look, that's not an opinion, that's just the math. Because every year you lose agents, 10 to 20% national averages of the agents. They go to retirement, they go to career changes, life events, competitors. That's just natural turnover, and it's baked in. And you don't get to opt out of it, unfortunately. So the only question that actually matters in this business, are you recruiting faster than you're losing? And before I keep going, if you've ever felt like you are the brokerage, and that's a problem, drop a 1 in the comments below. Just a 1. I just want to see how many of you are sitting in that same spot, because here's the prosecution for everything. And I want you to name the enemy before we go any further. For the last 15 years, the industry, as we know it, has been systematically convinced to outsource its growth. We've outsourced leads to Zillow. We've outsourced recruiting to these MLM models and franchise referrals. Outsourced branding to whatever logos on the door. Outsourced development. Think about this. We've outsourced development to coaching companies that have a totally different motivation. And then, of course, we've outsourced culture to holiday parties once a year. And then we wonder why brokerages collapse. The moment the market shifts, boom. The last 3 years has stripped the industry to the studs. Unit volume down 40% from the peak. Over 400,000 agents gone that's just since 2023. Commissions are under attack, buyer agencies under attack, the portals, they're literally taking your listings, repackaging your data, and then they're selling it back to you at a markup. You're not in a soft market. You are in what we would call a forced reset. And in a forced reset, only one kind of brokerage survives. The kind that owns its recruiting, owns its value, owns its lead flow, owns its operation, and certainly owns its culture. The kind that runs on a system instead of a personality. So here's the question I want you to sit with for the next 20 minutes. If you walked away from your business just for 90 days Would your agent count increase when you got back? Would it drop or would it stay flat? Because that question is the difference between owning a brokerage and being owned by one. The brokerages that scale, they aren't the ones with the best agents or the best logos or the best location. They're the ones that have the best machine. And the machine has 5 parts. Recruiting is the engine. Development is the retention. Lead infrastructure is the delivery. Operations is the force multiplier. And culture is the compound. I want to show you each of these systems. And let's start with system 1. The one that determines whether everything else even matters. Most brokers think that recruiting real estate agents is about making more phone calls, and I'm here to tell you it's not. It's about building 5 engines that recruit for you. They're always running continuously. They're feeding the pipeline, and then they're converting at what we would call predictable rates. And I want to start here with the single biggest lie that broker owners tell themselves. The lie is, I'll start recruiting harder when the market gets better. And that's completely backwards. That's the broker owner version of saying, hey, look, I'll start going to the gym when I have more energy. Bottom line is you don't wait for the market to recruit. You recruit so you're ready when the market turns. And look, the market is always turning, and it's turning towards somebody. The only question is whether or not it's turning towards you. When the PPP goes down, you can either increase PPP per agent, or you can increase the number of agents doing a lower PPP. Both get the job done, but only one of them is predictable. So here's where most broker owners get it wrong. They treat recruiting like an activity, making some calls, maybe sending some texts, they take some people out to lunch, and they hope that something resonates, something hits. But that's not recruiting. That's the act of fishing, really. Recruiting at scale is a system. There's 5 engines that are running continuously, feeding the pipeline, converting at those rates. This is what I call the 5 to Thrive for recruiting, and it's the same structural philosophy as the 5 to Thrive that we teach real estate agents that generate leads of buyers and sellers, but we built this one specifically for broker owners who are trying to grow their brokerage now in a market like 2026. It's online authority, database domination, events, farming, and social distribution. I'm going to walk you through each one. So, are you ready to take some notes? Let's get after it. All right, so engine number 1 is online authority. When a top agent in your market starts thinking about making a move, what do they do first? Do they Google? Do they call the company that's been occupying space in their minds for the past weeks or months or maybe years? So let me ask you, if they search your name, if they watch your YouTube, if they read your reviews, if they asked ChatGPT who the best brokerage in your market was, what would come up? Listen, by the time that you ever get on a phone call with anybody, they've already made up their minds. They're not researching whether to take the meeting. What they're doing is they're confirming what they already have decided. But here's where brokers get it wrong. They think it's a data-driven decision, and it's not. People make the decision in their heart, and then they confirm it in their mind. So, the prosecution, open ChatGPT right now. Type in best brokerage to join in your market. What comes up? Does your name come up? Do the same thing with Google and YouTube and search your company. Does your name come up? And does the content speak to the heart or does it speak to the mind? If it doesn't, if the messaging is all wrong, that's the gap. That's the good news. And every week you don't fix that gap, a competitor's smoking you. What online authority actually looks like at the broker level, 1 YouTube video every single week minimum. That feeds your SEO, GEO, your social distribution, your email, your paid retargeting, all of it. Plus a full paid stack, meta ads, Google, YouTube, pre-roll, running underneath all of the organic content. And organic confirms the authority, but paid builds and accelerates the authority. And you have to have both. That's today's market. If you're a broker owner who isn't producing weekly content in 2026 that speaks to the heart of every agent that you want, you're invisible to those agents. They will find somebody else that isn't invisible. Which brings us to engine number 2, which is your database domination. That's your MLS, that becomes your farm, your email list becomes your leverage. Most broker owners have a CRM, but it's only got probably 20, 30, 40 contacts in it, all of whom you already know, they're already friends. Here's what real database domination looks like. Every agent in your MLS is in the system. They're segmented by tier, whatever tier you want to use, A, B, C, whatever. They're tagged by brokerage, they're tagged by license date if you can get it. They're tagged by geography, meaning where are they specializing in, how close to your office are they. And then everyone sees us as a leader. But we are only accepting a few. We're marketing to all, but we're only recruiting a small amount. That connection plan is tiered. So you have hot prospects get 3 to 5 touches every 7 to 10 days. Warm prospects get 4 to 6 every 14 days. Nurture gets 1 every 2 weeks. Cold gets 1 a month. And then every agent has a stage. And here's what's important. Every stage has a next stage, and you're constantly moving them through the stages of the funnel. And on top of that, you email market twice per week your entire agent database. So Tuesdays are teaching emails and Friday are authority or some kind of a storytelling, but you do that forever. That's your recruiting engine. 5 systems, all running at the same time. But here's the truth. You can recruit hard and still be losing ground if the next system is not in place. In part 2, I'm gonna show you the engines, number 3, 4, and 5, and then we're gonna go into the system that most brokerages don't even have at all, and it's actually the one that's silently killing them. The link is right there. Don't skip it.